Gently close your eyes. Do deep breathing. We'll chant Om once together. Synchronize the chanting of Om with your exhalation. Breathe in. Sahana vavatu, sahanau bhunaktu, sahaviryam karavavahai, tejas vinavaditamastu mavit vishavahai. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Gently open your eyes. We'll chant from verses 6 to 10 of chapter 3. Karmendriyani sanyamya,
कर्मेन्द्रियाणि संयम्य
ya aste manasa smaran,
य आस्ते मनसा स्मरन्
indriyartan vimudhatma,
इन्द्रियार्थान् विमूढात्मा
mithyachara sa uchyate.
मिथ्याचारः स उच्यते
Yastvindriyani manasa,
यस्त्विन्द्रियाणि मनसा
niyamyarabhaterjuna,
नियम्यारभतेऽर्जुन
कर्मेन्द्रियै कर्मयोगम्,
कर्मेन्द्रियै कर्मयोगम्
असक्तः स विशिष्यते.
असक्तः स विशिष्यते
नियतं कुरु कर्म त्वम्,
नियतं कुरु कर्म त्वम्
कर्मज्यायो ह्यकर्मणः,
कर्मज्यायो ह्यकर्मणः
शरीरयात्रापि च ते,
शरीरयात्रापि च ते
न प्रसिद्ध्येद कर्मणः,
न प्रसिद्ध्येद कर्मणः
यज्ञार्थात् कर्मणोऽन्यत्र,
यज्ञार्थात् कर्मणोऽन्यत्र
लोकोऽयं कर्मबन्धनः,
लोकोऽयं कर्मबन्धनः
तदर्थं कर्म कौन्तेय,
तदर्थं कर्म कौन्तेय
Muktasanga samachara.
Muktasangah samachara.
Saha yagnya praja srishtva.
Saha yagnya praja srishtva.
Purovacha prajapatihi.
Purovacha prajapatihi.
Anena prasavishyadvam.
Anena prasavishyadvam.
Yeshavostvishta kamadhuk.
Yeshavos svishta kamadhuk.
Hari Om, and a very good day to all of you. So this principle of Yagya is the direct way by which you can evolve, you can make your life very pure. There is actually no other way. Yagya is the basic principle behind all the methods which are suggested in order to evolve spiritually. It is not that Yagya is a principle of Karma Yoga, now some other principle will be given for Bhakti Yoga. If you really think about it, whether it is Karma Yoga or Bhakti Yoga or Jnana Yoga, these are all just names which we give for different sadhanas at the various levels of your personality. But there are certain core principles behind these sadhanas. One of them is Yagya. For example, when you do Jnana Yoga, the offering, the ahuti which you are giving is ignorance. And where are you giving it? To the fire of knowledge. When you do Bhakti Yoga, you offer all your negative emotions into that fire of your personal God. Personal God in the sense that personal way in which you relate to God. God is common for everyone, but each one relates to that infinite in his or her own way. So into that fire, you offer your negative emotions. Actually, if you see, every aspect of life will be having this principle of Yagya ingrained. It will be so surprising. It's not only this principle of Yagya. As we go along, there are so many principles from the higher wisdom which will be expounded to you. And once you start learning all this, you will be amazed to see that these are the very foundational principles which are governing this world, which are governing your life. When you don't know about all this, when you're ignorant, now you think that life is just going on without any purpose. But the moment you get acquainted with these truths, then you start seeing your life in a totally different way. You start looking at your own life with much more clarity. Everything becomes so clear to you. So, when we talk of this principle of Yagya and then the various facets to it. Now, this question is always asked. Even recently, a sadhak had sent this question, and that is, when we talk of qualities like attachment, here he says karma, that is the opposite of Yagya. Now, aren't all these quite natural? So, on one hand, we say that spirituality means you have to be very natural, don't be artificial. That is also said. On the other hand, now, isn't it a natural tendency to get attached? For example, attachment, sangaha. It's a very natural quality. Everybody gets attached to something or not, something or other. It's very, very natural. Similarly, so many other things like, for example, you take anger. No, that's very natural. Fear, it's natural. So then, if we try to change this now, if we try to practice this principle of Yagya, aren't we moving away from nature, and aren't we trying to become more artificial? Even the three relative principles which I gave you, the Atma Shuddhi, Atma Vriddhi, and then Atma Prakasha. Now, this question is asked. I'm only extending that question to these principles also. Why should we put in all this effort into purification, development, learning and all that? Let me just lead my life naturally, Now, I'll answer that question because this is very important, and it'll help you in gaining an in-depth, deeper wisdom about this ancient wisdom as a whole. See, first of all, you need to understand what is natural, what is artificial. Just because you are doing something today on your own, that doesn't mean it is natural. Through persistent efforts, or we can say for a long period of time, when you put in certain, it's wrong to use the word efforts here, when you perform certain actions, or when you think in a particular way, or when you feel in a particular way, due to certain external influences, now after a while it will become a habit. You will forget when it all started. So now it will look as if naturally you are drawn towards thinking in a particular way, feeling in a particular way, and acting in a particular way. Even though that is looking natural, that need not necessarily be your original state, your natural state. See, today the fundamental issue is an artificial lifestyle has taken over. Everything has become so artificial. Now that is one step, but it has gone to the next step where all the artificial things are looked upon as natural. See, supposing you're using the cell phone. Now, cell phone is not a natural thing. I am not saying you should not use a cell phone, but the point here is, If you get used to that over a few years, now you cannot live without a cell phone. That's how you feel. How is it possible? It's natural. So this is a common misconception which people have. You meet a person, you ask him, are you fine? He says yes. Are you healthy? He says, yeah, I'm very healthy. How do you say you're healthy? He'll say, my blood pressure is under control, my sugar is under control. All these various things he gives parameters. And then after telling you all that, he opens a box and takes a few tablets and he consumes them. Then you ask him, what is this? Just now you said you're healthy. To which he says, yes, I'm healthy. Then what for are you taking these tablets? What are these tablets which you're taking? He says, this first tablet is to control my pressure. The second one is to control my sugar. Third one is for this. Fourth one is for this. So he's having all that. One is for cholesterol. Now then you wonder, how is it that you're saying you're healthy? Yeah, if you want to check my pressure, you check my sugar level, everything is normal. So what is interesting is, once you live with a disease for a while, and then you're used to taking tablets in order to keep that under control, you start feeling that you are healthy with all that. This is a common misconception today. Real health means without all this, you should feel healthy. That is what is real health. The moment you're taking some tablet for something, it means something has gone wrong with your health. But when you repeat something for a long period of time, that becomes almost your first nature. It becomes a part of your life. Then that looks natural. It is not only with respect to health. You see, today's trend is very strange. People just get used to a particular way of life, and then they start believing that that is the only way of life possible. It is like a person who starts drinking alcohol. Now, initially, he has not yet become an addict. But after a while, what will happen is he loses the pleasure which he got initially out of the alcohol. So in order to get back that pleasure or kick, he consumes more. So then a time comes where he consumes a lot of alcohol just to be normal. If you normal means still he is not normal or sober like others, but if you take away the alcohol from him, now immediately he'll start trembling, he will get acidity, this will happen, that will, all those things will happen. So he starts feeling that I need to consume alcohol in order to remain normal. If I should not have this trembling, if I should not have this acidity, all this, I need to consume alcohol. The mind gets into that illusion. So whatever is unnatural or artificial, when you do it for a period of time, then the mind gets into an illusion and it starts thinking that that is what is natural, that is the only way of life, no other thing is possible. Now the same thing with respect to these principles also. For a long period of time, since you have moved away from these natural principles of life, now suddenly when these are introduced and you need to bring about a change, you find it unnatural. So never assess the condition of your mind, whether it is natural or whether it is artificial and all that, based on the present moment or present position. An alcoholic will say it is natural for me, for my mind to run behind alcohol. Why should I become artificial? Why should I stop drinking alcohol? Would you accept that argument? Definitely no. The moment you are conditioned by something outside, the moment you become addicted, the extreme form of attachment is addiction. So the moment you get into that state, then that's what will look natural to you. You cannot live without it. When you get exposed to this ancient wisdom, you are given that opportunity to truly learn what are the natural laws, natural principles of life. These are the principles which govern nature, which govern this entire world. So when you live these principles, now what will happen is you will start becoming one with nature. You will start becoming more natural in the true sense of the term. I'll give you a few examples. Like let us take the three aspects of Agni: purification, development, and learning. Now, if you take the world is built on these three principles only. The world functions based on these three principles. The choice which you have is whether you should follow it or not. But otherwise, if you take the whole world, it is functioning on the principle of purification, development, that is evolution, and learning. You take your physical body. As soon as you wake up in the morning, what do? Naturally, what do? You rub your eyes. Why do you rub your eyes? Because some dirt has got accumulated there. So you start the process of cleaning. This is only at the physical level. But the Shuddhi process is what you naturally get. You take the whole of nature. How does it function? Wherever there is accumulation of dirt, nature tries to clean it. You're naturally pushed towards this process of Shuddhi, cleaning. Even how does our internal system function? Why do you have the basic excretory system? It is only to clean. Why do you sweat? Again, to throw out certain toxins. Why do you sneeze? When a foreign matter enters your nose, immediately the body becomes alert and it causes the sneezing mechanism, so that is thrown out. What is cold? Many people think it is the virus which causes the cold. It is not the virus. Cold is nothing but a defense mechanism of the body. Extra mucus is produced. The immune system fights against the virus which is invaded. And then they are thrown out. That is what is cold. What is fever? The temperature of the body is increased. And when the temperature is increased, when the internal environment is made more hot, that is conducive for the viruses to die. What is the mechanism of vomiting? What is the mechanism of diarrhea? You need to gain more knowledge about all this. In the Kaya Tattva Empowerment Program, I have explained this in one session. The entire body is constantly trying to clean itself up. This is how nature has designed the physical body. It is not only the physical body, the entire nature is like that. You just have to observe it with more depth. Whenever you get very stressed, now immediately you look for some solution. You may seek the solution in wrong channels. That's a different matter. But that tendency to look for a solution, what is it? That is nothing but a desire to purify the emotions. You may not be aware of it today. So when we talk of Shuddhi, when you say practice Atma Shuddhi, mean, oh sir, why are you asking me to follow something which is artificial? No, this is how nature has been designed. Naturally, everything functions with the principle of Shuddhi only, except a human being. Why? Because a human being has been given the choice of action. So using that choice, you should understand what is nature, what is natural, and you should conform yourself to that natural way of life. Then you take Vriddhi. Vriddhi means development, evolution. Evolution is a natural process. Everything keeps evolving. Of course, in science they talk about the physical evolution, but the same thing is applicable at the spiritual level also. Naturally, every creature keeps on evolving. A human being left to himself or herself would want to improve, would want to evolve. So when you stop your growth, then you are being artificial. To that person who has asked this question, kindly reflect on these points and get them into your system. It is only by following Yagya that you can lead a natural life. So, Shuddhi, it is a natural principle of life. Vriddhi, development or evolution, it is again a natural principle of life. Similarly, Prakasha means enlightening yourself, learning. That is again a natural process of life. Right from birth, what does a baby do? It keeps on learning. See, it's very interesting. The psychologists, they say, whatever we learn in the first 2 years of life is 99% more than what we learn for the rest of our lives. You may wonder, how is that possible? Because a baby has to learn everything from scratch. Sometimes, the doctors say that the babies forget to breathe. Then they tap the baby at the back so that it can to facilitate the process of breathing. It's very interesting. Every little thing the baby learns. For the first 1 or 2 years, the baby doesn't talk anything, but it just keeps observing the people who are talking to it, keeps on absorbing, and then one day it starts speaking. How much of learning is going on? Do you realize that? See, the problem is you have forgotten all that. And you even stop off the process of learning. So when you stop the process of learning, you are being artificial. The natural process of life is to keep learning, to keep growing, evolving, and to keep purifying yourself. So when Krishna says, perform actions for the sake of Yagya, inculcate this principle of Yagya into your life, he is not asking you to do anything artificial. Rather, what he is telling you is, you stop being artificial and get to the natural way of life. This is how life is meant to be. This is how life has been designed. But you have used your choice of action, the choice which has been given to you, in the wrong way, and you have gone off into the artificial path for a long period of time, and now you are feeling that that is what is natural. Anything apart from that is unnatural. So it is only in the initial stages you will find all these things difficult to practice. But once you become a yogi, then the non-attachment which he's talking about will be very easy for you. But you will have to go through that process for a certain time period. You have to keep consistently doing the sadhana. Only then you can come out of the state of conditioning, come to the neutral position. A person who is conditioned by alcohol cannot understand any advice when you give that person, because he is already conditioned by the alcohol. He has to put in a lot of effort for a period of time and come out of that influence. Only then he will become sober. He'll get into the neutral position to understand anything which you tell him. It's the same thing with respect to the entire life. Today, you are attached to so many things, and that attachment conditions you. It limits your life. Thereafter, whatever you're experiencing will look as if it is real to you. That is what is real. That is what is reality. And when these great masters come and say, when they talk about the higher principles, it looks so strange to you. You feel all this is not possible. Just leave me, no? I will naturally be in this state. I'll be in this natural state. Friends, I want you to think about this point. However natural you feel your habits are today, however natural you feel about your mind, that is actually a conditioned state. See, this is like a catch-22 situation. Until and unless you come out of the conditioning, you cannot understand what is being said. But this is also true. Unless you understand this, you cannot come out of the conditioning. So to whatever extent you are able to absorb this, absorb. and practice that will get you out of the conditioning a little bit. Using that, you can gain more wisdom, you can do more sadhana. That is how gradually you can move up. So all these principles which are being given in the ancient wisdom, they are all conformed to the natural laws, natural principles, natural laws of life. And as a human being, you have been given that choice of action. Using that choice, if you consciously conform yourself to these principles, then you will become one with nature. In the next few verses, we'll be seeing that in greater detail, how this principle of Yagya not only benefits you, but it will benefit everyone around. It will benefit the whole world. The entire nature will be benefited. How will it be benefited? When we come there, we'll see. The first benefit is, at least you will stop disturbing nature. Today, many problems are being caused because of this tendency of a human being to disturb nature. So, this is the answer to that question. Just because something is happening today, immediately don't conclude it's natural. Then there is nothing for you to look forward to. There will be no growth at all. There will be no learning. The day you stop learning, you will stop growing. And this day you stop growing, you will not be able to purify yourself. So here we are taking this example of these three aspects. But every principle, if you go deep, you will find that that is a part of nature. Attachment. You're saying attachment is natural. You see the whole of nature. It is built on the principle of detachment. The sun keeps giving the light to the whole world. Does it have any expectations? Does the sun have Arambatva Bhava? We saw, the three manifestations of ego. I have started this, I am doing it, I am the enjoyer, that I stands out. Does the sun have all that? It just gives light. No expectations whatsoever. The birds are chirping. Why? Because that is their nature. When a cuckoo sings, now does it expect your appreciation? Is there that ego there? No. When a rose blooms, it blooms because that is its nature. Even in a place where nobody will ever notice, supposing you plant a rose, in a place where nobody will ever see it, it will still continue to bloom because that is what it is naturally designed for. Whether you go and appreciate it, whether you recognize it, all these things do not matter. The trees, they are yielding fruits, they give shade. No expectations whatsoever, no attachment. See, even if you see the birds, the animals, when they train their young ones, especially very interesting when the bird trains the young ones to fly, now it entices the young ones from the nest by keeping the food, and it sits just outside the nest. So the young ones come with a lot of fear and take the food and run away, run inside the nest. Then the mother bird keeps on increasing the distance. After a while, it sits opposite the nest in the other branch and it calls the young ones. The young ones are so afraid to just take a jump from the nest to that other branch, but somehow they manage. Slowly, slowly, it keeps on increasing the distance, and at one point of time, it just flies away with the food, and the young one follows the mother, and thus it learns to fly. When the mother bird is training the young ones to fly, does it have a fear? Oh, if I teach my young ones to fly, they will fly away. No mother bird will think like that. There is no attachment. When the young ones fly, the mother bird is so happy. Yes, I have played my part. I'm only dramatizing. The birds, the animals don't even have these thoughts. So thus you find the whole of nature is functioning in a spirit of non-attachment. The principle he is giving here, mukta sangaha, giving up attachment, is what is naturally being followed everywhere. It is only a human being who has used the choice in the wrong way and has got attached. Therefore, this wisdom is meant for a human being. Wherever there is attachment, there is fear, there is insecurity. Again, we are talking of mukta sangaha, giving up that mental attachment. Physically, you should be in action. Externally, you can have any position you want. There is no particular quantity which has been fixed in terms of wealth which you should acquire or in terms of enjoyments and all that. The whole world is meant for you to experience and enjoy, but do it in a detached way. The mind has a tendency to get attached to everything. That is why he says, mukta sangaha. That is a very important aspect of yagya. Whenever your mind gets attached, you are moving away from the principle of yagya. And wherever it is that you are attached, you will get stuck there. You will not be able to move forward. You will not be able to learn anything. You will not be able to purify yourself. So it starts working against the principle of yagya. It will stop your growth at all levels. That is why he says mukta sangaha. So last week I gave you the three bhavas from which you need to become detached. The first is Arambata bhava. Arambata means the feeling that I have only started this. Then Kartrutva bhava, that is I am doing this. And then Bhoktrutva bhava, I am enjoying. Now, if you were to take any action, there are these three aspects. First, you need to start. There is a starting point. Then you need to do the activity. And after that comes the enjoyment of the fruits. There is the end of the action and enjoyment of the fruits. Now, these three are essential aspects of any action. So when they are saying, don't have I am the starter attitude or I am the doer or I am the enjoyer attitude, they are not saying stop of these processes of starting, doing and enjoying. If you stop these processes, then you will stop action itself. The very chapter is Karma Yoga. That is the yoga of action. So how can he ask you to stop action? He is only saying remove the emphasis on that I. When you are acting, let's say you are performing some work, let your focus be on the work. Let the emphasis be on the work, not on the fact that I am performing that work. See, it's a choice which you have. Whether you emphasize on that I or not, anyway that action is happening. Now, when you emphasize on that I element, you will start devolving. When you emphasize on the action per se, then you start evolving. That is Yagya. So the whole of nature is acting continuously. Does the sun ever take a holiday? Do the birds have a concept of holidays? Even this is so-called, they say the bird migrates and all that. It keeps on acting. Why is it that there is no stress? Because the emphasis is not on that I. No bird has any ego. No animal has any ego. Whatever has to be done is just done. But all creatures do it unconsciously. A human being alone requires holiday and all this because the mind gets so stressed. And why does the mind get stressed? When your stress is upon that I, the ego, while performing your actions, then the mind gets stressed. So these are the three stages of action. Number one is the starting point. So there again the ego comes. I have only started. Number two, while performing the action, again the ego comes. I am only doing the action. And number three, the enjoyment. I am only enjoying. The stress, the emphasis is on I. So the antidote to this disease is in learning to be factual in life. So don't misunderstand what is being said. From now onwards, I will not start anything. I will not initiate anything. He's not saying that. If you don't initiate anything in your life, then that is a state of tamas. Similarly, from now on, I will not do anything. That is another state of tamas. I will not enjoy anything in life. The third state of tamas. Initiate as much as you can. See, the question which you should ask yourself is, what have I contributed to life? We will be again seeing that in another couple of verses, where he says, one who eats without producing is verily a thief. Means without contributing, if you go on taking, without giving, without returning, if you just keep on taking everything for free, he says that amounts to being a thief. Very, very powerfully he puts it. So it is only by initiating actions that you start this process of contributing. And after initiating something, you should be consistent enough to perform that action till the end, till you achieve whatever you have set out to achieve, till you accomplish that goal. So that process is the doing aspect. Now, you should give your heart and soul into that process also. Similarly, once the goal is accomplished, you should gracefully enjoy the fruits of your honest efforts. That is also a part of your life. Now go through all this meticulously. But whenever you find that emphasis starts shifting to that I am starting this, then have I started it properly or not? I don't think I've done a good job. People are not appreciating me. So many other branches of thoughts, will start coming. Complexes will start coming. If you find that you're getting caught up in that, immediately practice this sadhana. Similarly, do everything which you ought to do in life. That is what will help you to evolve. You have to perform your duties to the best of your ability. But I am doing it. Everything will get spoiled. Some parents say, I have only brought up my child. Even if you didn't do anything, the child would have anyway grown, no? Did you go and pull the child in order to become tall and grow? Nothing you did. You had a certain role. That, of course, you did. But why emphasize so much on I did it? Great yogis, they function only for the sake of humanity. All that time they are sending the healing energy. They radiate unconditional love for the benefit of everyone. But they never take any credit. Most of the time, you don't even know what these great yogis do in the background. Because there is no emphasis on I. When you go to a master, the master does so much in the background. You have no clue about that. Because he never advertises. A true master does not keep saying, I did this, I did that. In a context, he may casually say, like what Krishna is saying. See, imagine, Krishna is a Purna avatar. He is one with the infinite. He is an embodiment of the infinite. But Arjuna never even suspected that Krishna was spiritual till he gave the Bhagavad Gita. Then you can imagine how simple Krishna must have been. He never went about saying, I am spiritual, I am an avatar, I am this, I am that. All that he didn't say. It is only in this context he is saying, in order to uplift Arjuna. So this is the life of these great masters. There is a beautiful story about a saint. He was called the Holy Shadow. Now, that great saint, when he was meditating, God came in front of him and asked him, you should ask for a boon. You've been doing so much of tapas, so you should ask for some boon. To which that saint said, I really don't want anything. I'm in a state of fulfillment. So then God insisted and said, no, you have to ask. To which he thought about it and he said, okay, wherever I go, people should benefit. But I should never come to know of it. Now, here God wondered how to fulfill that wish, how to give that boon. Wherever I go, people should benefit because of me, but I should never come to know of it. It was a very strange request. But then that problem was solved. God said Tathastu and went away. This is a story which illustrates this principle of Mukta Sangha so beautifully. And the saint didn't even ask him, because the moment he comes to know how this process is going to work, then he will get to know. No? So the arrangement had been made that wherever the saint walked and wherever his shadow went, or in all those places people started becoming healthy, the healing energy started flowing. So the story is that the saint just kept walking and the shadow followed him, and people started getting healed. They all got so much. They all got benefited so much, but he was unaware of it. And slowly, even his name was forgotten. Everyone started calling him the Holy Shadow. It's a beautiful story. This is how your life should be. You should go on serving others. You should go on doing everything, but without that ego. That great saint didn't even know that people were getting healed. People were getting benefited. His focus was all on the infinite, and he just kept walking. And whoever came in contact with him, they were benefited so much. Every master is like that only. He will just go on living his life. Whatever wisdom he has, he'll keep sharing. Whatever the positive energy, the divine energy which is there, that will keep emanating from him. But his focus will not be on all that. Everything will be happening, but he will be connected to the infinite. So you should also achieve that state of Mukta Sangha. See, first just conceive that, appreciate that. Lord Krishna was a practical example of this. He was right in the midst of the battlefield. He was doing so many things, but no arambata bhavaha, no kartritva bhavaha, no bhoktritva bhavaha. It is interesting, even in any sense enjoyment, as long as that I is there, you cannot enjoy it fully. It is only when you completely lose that I in that enjoyment that you enjoy it fully. Even when a person creates something, let us say an artist draws something, or a sculptor is able to sculpt beautiful statue, or a musician composes something. At the time of creation, that I will not be there. That I would have been completely, it would have got lost in that creation. And that is when the creativity is at its height. Something gets composed, something gets created. Later on, the I may come back and that person may say, I only created it. But at the point of creation, the I wouldn't have been there. Any work of genius will always be an inspired act, and that inspiration comes only when that I goes away. So Mukta Sangaha is an essential aspect of Yagya. What is Yagya? I told you, there is an offering and then the fire shoots up. So here Mukta Sangaha means you're offering that I in that fire of action. Either it could be the starting of action, or it could be the middle of action, or it could be the end of action. So when you practice this, incidentally, your creative capacity increases. You become very, very creative. Your creativity increases. Your productivity in action will increase. And you will start enjoying life to its fullest. When you are constantly filled with these thoughts of I, you can neither be creative, nor can you be effective when you're performing actions, nor will you enjoy anything. It will lead to a state of what we call as a troubled mind. That's why he says, Mukta Sangaha, give up attachment, give up that Sangaha, the tendency of the mind or your tendency to emphasize on that I. That is what is Sangaha. What an amazing principle, So give up attachment and perform action for the sake of that. Tadartham. So that means Yagya. He has already explained that in the first line. So I've also gone into the depth of it. What exactly does it mean by Yagnarthat? And we are going to see that in more depth in the next verses also. So here he is giving a direct advice, and he says, give up attachment and perform action for the sake of that. Means for the sake of Yagya. O Kaunteya, Kunti Putra, O Arjuna. So the word used there is samachara. Samacharanam means performing. Acharanam means conduct. Samacharanam means samyak acharanam, that is performing it in a perfect way, proper conduct. So we are translating it as perform action. But if you go deep into that word, samachara, you get a lot of sadhana tips. First of all, samachara means performing, which means don't be in a state of tamas. Always perform your duties to the best of your ability. The moment you want to give up action, the moment you have that tendency, then you're moving away from this path. So when Krishna says samachara, perform, act, it's a very, very powerful instruction which he is giving to the entire humanity. You don't need to be thinking about humanity. As far as you're concerned, the instruction is directly for you. So always ask yourself, samachara means what do I need to do at this moment? What are my duties? What is the plan of action for today? In the management jargon, they say, you have a yearly plan, have a monthly plan, weekly plan, daily plan. What is all that? It is nothing but plan of action. Now, our yogis are going one step further. What is the plan of action right now? What am I to do right now? Perform that. Number one. Number two, samachara also means proper conduct. It is not enough if you merely act. Act in a proper way. The yogi's principle is that, the yogic principle is that, number one, you should be in action. Number two, you should do it properly. Never ever do something in a half-hearted way. See, we are so adept at using terminologies to justify our own weaknesses. So generally we say, I will try to do this. There is nothing like trying to do. Either you do it or you don't do it. Generally, when you don't want to do it, you camouflage it by saying, I will try to do it. So from this moment onwards, start practicing this samachara. Bring that principle into your life. Ask yourself, what are the things which I need to do? What are the various duties which I have? Now, how best can I do them? That is the next question. Proper conduct, samachara. If you do anything in a half-hearted way, that becomes a non-yagya activity. When you do something in a proper way, in the best possible way, when you put in that effort, then that becomes yagya. It becomes worship. They say, no, work is worship. Whatever work you're doing, bring that full bhav and do it. Not because people should appreciate or this should happen, not for all that, just for the sake of that action. See, even if you take the Yoga Sankirtan audio material, there's so much of effort which goes behind it before creating one audio material. The next Yoga Sankirtan material is on its way. The process has started. The recording, all these things are going on. Very, very powerful it's going to be. So much of effort is put in order to bring it to a good shape. Now, what for is it being done? Just for the sake of it. That is the very yogic principle. Act for the sake of action. Make your actions so perfect just for the sake of acting in a perfect way. Not for any reward or anything. All that will come later. When that comes, then enjoy that reward without bhoktrutva bhavana. Without that ego, enjoy. Nothing wrong with that. But when you are acting, let it be samachara. Samacharanam means just performance or performance of that action in the best possible way. So you can inculcate this. No action is superior or inferior. If you're cooking, cook in the best possible way. Put your heart and soul into it. If you're sweeping the floor, do it as perfectly as possible. Perfect doesn't mean just you take up one action for one day and you go on doing it. It's not that. That is also tamas. So you have to bring that balance. Some people, they just keep on performing one action in a very slow way. What can be accomplished in 5 minutes, they keep doing for 1 hour. Why? Samachara. I want to do it as perfectly as possible. Then you will become highly unproductive. So don't misuse. See, any of this principle, when it is misused, it will get you into trouble. So the first dimension of samacharan means perform, do. The second one, proper conduct. Do everything to the best of your ability, in the best possible way, to your satisfaction. Go to the specifics and try to make that action very wonderful. That is a beautiful yogic practice. See, right now, this person is giving this discourse. If it is done in a very casual way, something I'll say and go, now then there is no bhavana in that. If it is done for the sake of getting name and fame, let me now give the talk and so that more people will appreciate. Is there any meaning in that? And that is also no use, that is non-yagnya. But if the same wisdom is being given, the same action is done just for the pleasure of it, without any motive, because this ought to be done, then that action becomes yagnya. And any action when done in the spirit of yagnya, samachara, now will gather tremendous positive energy. It will create ripples and ripples of divine waves, as it were. Not only will you be benefited, everyone around you also will be benefited. So you think about this. We will stop it here. Today, a lot of tips have been given to you. The same principles have been expounded to you with more depth. See, principles are the same. Week after week, we are only increasing the depth. Otherwise, a new person will wonder. Supposing somebody has been asking you for last few weeks, today what did he say? He spoke about yagnya. Then next Sunday, oh, one yagnya has spoken so much. Okay. Next Sunday again the person asks you, what did he talk about, what did Yogishri give today? He spoke about yagnya only. This is the third week yagnya. Then he'll say, Are, Yogishri is saying the same thing week after week and you're also listening to it. He will never understand unless he attends. It's not about different things. It's the same principle, but we are going into more and more depth. So each and every word which he is using here is actually helping in understanding the principle of yagnya in detail. So yagnya itself, I told you, it means Vishnu, it means Agni, so much is there. And then when he says mukta sangaha, that gives you one facet. Now when he uses the word samachara, see earlier he has used the word kuru, means do. Now he is using the word samachara to add more value to that. So that helps you to convert your actions into yagnya. Okay, so you reflect on these principles. Before we do the nididhyasana, I'll take up one question. This question has been asked by Donna Silvestro from US. So Namaste Yogishri, I hope you're well. I want to express my gratitude for the insightful teachings you've provided. As part of our homework, I have been observing my mind as if it were separate from myself. That's a very subtle sadhana. It's been quite interesting to realize how often my mind becomes preoccupied with thoughts that hold little relevance to my current circumstances or overall well-being. This is what I keep telling you, when you practice this self-awareness and self-observation, so many things which you would not be aware of will start surfacing. You will become aware of them. So when it fits in with the flow of the discourse, could you please refresh my memory on the practical tips for training my mind to move away from non-essential matters. I recall you mentioned previously that attempting to avoid certain thoughts is ineffective and that the mind is resistant to abrupt shifts in thinking. I also recall your suggestion that keeping my goals at the forefront of my mind will naturally steer it away from unproductive thoughts. Could you confirm if my understanding is correct? Thank you. So, this question is a very practical question which Donna has asked. It will be extremely useful for all the sadhaks. This process of self-observation, observing your mind, is very good. But just a word of caution here to all the sadhaks. Practice it to the extent you can. Don't try to practice anything forcefully. See, when it was said that the mind will resist when you try to abruptly change something, what was meant was whenever you try to forcefully change your mind, it can have negative repercussions. Any change is always gradual. It is only in extreme cases, like a person is completely addicted to alcohol and the health is getting spoiled. At that time, we can't say now gradually come out of it. By the time, the person may not be alive also, So it is only in those extreme cases force is generally used. There will be a lot of withdrawal symptoms and suffering, but that is only for the good. We have to see how to compensate for all that. But otherwise, generally, when it comes to spiritual sadhana, we never try to force the mind. Rather, we educate the mind by gaining this wisdom. And as you begin to understand things more deeply, the mind will come it will start flowing in the right direction. Now, practically, to be aware of every thought, whether it's productive or not productive, is it thinking about essential things or non-essential things? Now, practically, it's not possible to do with regard to each and every thought. Then whole day you will only be doing that. You cannot act. That will cause a lot of frustration also after a while. So, see, when the principle is being given here, it's not that you need to leave everything else and keep doing this. It's not that. We have to see practically how to apply it. What the yogi says, instead of watching each and every thought the whole day and trying to align it, we will only become tired with it. They say, you fix a goal. That is what you asked. When you fix a goal, now something higher, a higher goal, which can take you towards the path to the infinite, what will happen is all the thoughts, that is the thoughts which were earlier engaged in various non-essential things, will start flowing towards that goal. So see, the goal should be something which inspires you, which you really want. Then the thoughts will automatically start flowing. Then you can fix a schedule, a plan of action, and you can start functioning. This will be very practical. Where you need to really look whether this thought is beneficial or not is when you find something, some thought or emotion taking you completely away from your goal. At that time, you need to put your blinkers on, you need to put some effort to bring back the mind. But otherwise, at every step, if you keep doing that, you will find it very impractical. So this is a very simple solution which the yogis have given. So fix a goal which is higher than your present level. If it's too high, you will not relate to it. If it is a lower goal, now you will start devolving. So fix a goal which is higher than your present level. Not too high, but high enough to inspire you, and also practical goal which can pull you to action. Then your mind will get attracted to it. That's why the yogis keep asking, what is it that you want? Even in the Finding Rhythm in Life empowerment program I had mentioned to you, the 12 aspects of life, fixed goals there. What is it that you want in each of these aspects? Now, when you start writing them down, your mind will start flowing towards that. This is a simple way of pulling your mind away from its preoccupations without feeling the strain. But sometimes a strong vasana, a strong desire, or a strong emotion can come and completely take you away from your chosen goal. There you need to observe, you need to apply a little bit of force if required, various methods to get the mind back on track. So this is the way you can handle the mind. 99% of the time, or 99.9% of the time, when you fix a goal and a schedule based on that, and if you keep practicing that with awareness, over a period of time you will find that all these preoccupations with non-essentials will start falling away, and there'll be a streamlining of your thoughts and emotions. That 0.1% case where some powerful weakness of yours manifests and tries to pull you away from the chosen path, there you need to become more conscious. You need to apply yourself with more vigor. Okay? So I think I made myself very clear. Think about this. If you have more points, you can always get back. So now we'll do the Nididhyasana meditation. Gently close your eyes. Do deep breathing. With every breath, I am getting into a state of deep relaxation. Feel the divine energy
With every breath, I am going deeper and deeper into myself. I am not this body. I am not this mind. I am not this intellect. I am that supreme, infinite self. From this moment onwards, I choose to absorb the principle of Yagya into my life. I am Swayam Prakashit, self-illuminating. Offer your gratitude to God Supreme
Offer your gratitude to your Guru and all the holy masters. Slowly come back. Wriggle your fingers, your toes. Rub your palms together to create a warmth. Cup your eyes with your palms. Gently rub your eyes, cheeks, forehead, top of the head, back of the head and neck. Slowly open your eyes. Welcome back. We had a very deep session today. Systematically, week after week, the subtler principles of life are being given to you. So when the principle is more subtle, you need to put in more effort to absorb it. So reflect on these points. You can see the session how many ever times you want. But what is very important is you absorb them and look for opportunities where you can practice them. As a sadhak, that is your duty. And you have enough opportunities. You will have in your life. Take up one or two things which inspire you and see how you can practice them. Because not that so many points are there, you have to remember each and everything. It's not like that. Whatever comes naturally to you, whatever you're able to remember, recollect, what you're inspired with, that you start practicing. Okay? So I'll see you in the next session. Thank you very much. Hari Om.